On the first warm night in summer, I decided to go for a walk along the waterfront. All the factories and piers from the 20th century had been abandoned and/or bulldozed and were replaced by gentrified bike trails and pedestrian walks. It was a great place to stock. Sorry, that was a bad choice of words. It was an excellent place to encounter the opposite sex. It was a stinking hot night, with lots of flesh on display, parading in the golden rays of the setting sun. I moved along with the crowd, enjoying the sultry summer vibe, and thinking a cold drink, one with lots of foam, thinking a cold drink might not be amiss. When I saw her in the crowd, moving ahead of me. For years, I had seen her in my dreams, a tall, dark woman in a jet black dress, always barefoot. I would find myself following her, sometimes in daylight, sometimes at night, sometimes wandering amongst crowds, sometimes along deserted, empty streets. Sometimes I would dream of her every night for a week, sometimes once every 6 months. And in all those years, how long? 10 years? 15? All those years I saw her in my dreams, I never once spoke to her. Never once. She was my dream girl, dream lover. But I never expected to ever see her in the flesh. And yet, here she was. I forgot the beer and hurried after her, determined to speak to her, although I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to say. Tell her I'd seen her in my dreams? That sounded too much like a corny pickup line. But I had to approach her, had to talk to her, had to. I'd think of something to say. Still, no sooner had I come to my decision than the parading crowd, which had been moving as sweetly and as gently as a warm summer breeze, turned into an unruly mob. I suddenly found my vision of my mystery lady blocked by large groups of merrymakers, walking abreast and hogging the sidewalk as they dallied and dawdled along in slow motion. Thoughtless people blundered into me, some staring at their phones in mesmerized fascination, while I narrowly missed having a chocolate soft-served ice cream cone smeared all over the front of my clothes. And all the time, my long, cool woman in her black dress kept getting further and further away. Soon she was just a small black figure at the very limit of my vision. Up ahead, far up ahead, I saw her turn off into a side street. I hurried forward and managed to reach the spot in under 5 minutes. The side street turned out to be more of an alley, leading into an abandoned warehouse or storage facility, which had yet to be redeveloped. It seemed a most curious destination, lonely and dark, with the ground covered by shards of broken glass and scraps of metal, guaranteed to play havoc on bare feet. At first, I could see very little in the gathering gloom, the thick walls and filthy windows admitting only a dim light from outside. But then I saw her, standing stock still, a tall, dark figure in black, in the center of the immense structure. "Hello? Hello?" I called, in a voice which echoed off the walls. The figure, she, came towards me, but she seemed to float or bound towards me at 3-foot intervals, like a series of motion picture jump cuts. And as she descended upon me, her legs, then her arms, then her head disappeared as if sucked into the folds of her black dress, which in turn collapsed into a round black sphere, like a cannonball or a bowling ball. A bowling ball with a hole in one end. It bounced on the rough ground once, then flew up and struck me flush in the face, and I was enveloped in darkness. I had fallen down, stunned by the blow, so it took me several minutes to come back to my senses and begin taking in my surroundings, which seemed to be the interior of a black circular chamber that radiated darkness. Still, high overhead in the ceiling was a small circular aperture through which shone a diffuse and gloomy light. It was as if I was inside a bowling ball, peering out through one of the finger holes. Oh God! Oh God! I was inside the black sphere, the sphere that had been a woman, the sphere which had hit me in the face. And then she said, from somewhere in the darkness, "I understand. You've been dying to meet me." The moral of the story: always be careful that your dreams don't turn into nightmares. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,500 subs in 2022. Till midnight. Cheers. Pictures used in today's video, courtesy of Pix here, that's PX here, while the music was The Dreadful, The Dread, by that patron of the internet, Kevin MacLeod. Today I read my script out of a notebook rather than having it typed out. It was a bit of a challenge. But you can let me know in the comments below how it sounded. And as always, thanks for listening.